Welcome into the Bluegrass Burnouts YouTube channel. We are talking about the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just let Cody talk about this because Cody was there. There ain't nobody better to talk
Yes,
about it
sir.
than the guy that was actually there, the guy that experienced it live. Got to see Tyler Reddick win his fourth race of the year live, which is insane to think about. You know, it's getting to the point where it's like, is somebody gonna catch him? Is what's gonna happen here? I mean, they're dominant, but he fought through adversity this week. Cody, go on ahead and let's just hear about your experience there.
Yeah, man. Overall, just an incredible week. We went to the truck race on Friday and then came back on Saturday, skipped O'Reilly, went back to Cup, and it was, I really can't talk good enough about it. Like, it was an amazing weekend. Darlington puts on a great show, and I firstly just want to talk about the alumni stuff that they're doing now. And obviously, Darlington, throwback week, known for being the oldest track on the schedule. And I'm hoping this is something they'll continue. But the NASCAR alumni group has every race. They'll bring some people in for Darlington, and they always do some throwback interviews, Q&As, signing, stuff like that. And it was super cool to get to see. We had guys, the Labonte brothers were there, did a signing, did a Q&A. Mark Martin was there, did a Q&A, did a signing. Kurt Busch, Harry Gant. Harry Gant, this was his first time at a track since he retired.
Really,
That's what they told us.
really,
And
I didn't know
I
that.
honestly didn't believe them when they said that,
No, I
but
wouldn't believe that either. I mean,
came out of his own mouth.
like just a like a cup track or
I
like a track at
assumed
all.
just going to a cup race, I would assume, but I truthfully don't know. But either way, it just sounds
Yeah,
outlandish. But yeah, dude, man, and just a quick shout out to Harry. Obviously, an incredible driver, big person in like the history of NASCAR. But he went out there, did his Q&A, talked about coming back to the track and everything that had changed, and then afterwards went out and signed autographs for a good 10, 15 minutes. Not a single person got skipped until they literally had to pull him away. And I respect the hell out of that. I'm a big guy that whenever we talk about NASCAR, we talk about the fan base. You talk about the access to the drivers. And for a guy that is of his age, of his legacy, to go out there and make sure that everyone gets an autograph, incredible appreciation to Harry. It was an honor to meet him. I got a couple cards signed by him as well, and that was super cool. But no, like I said, overall the experience was awesome. The fan zone's great. They have the throwback cars. They had a Earnhardt Jr.'s nationwide, sorry, not nationwide, National Guard COT sitting out.
really.
It was gorgeous, super cool to see up close. They had some
Don't
quarter.
don't spoil the vlog, Cody. Don't spoil the vlog that you got coming out.
We'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, overall, I love the way that Darlington does all of their stuff, and man, we'll see more in the video. There was some incredible stuff going on this weekend, but as for the actual race, a little shocking. We'll put it that way. We talked about this in the preview. Switched up the tires, switched up the packages a little bit. We were expecting a bit more of a wreck fest based on, I was not talking to, sorry, but Brad Keselowski did an interview. He said, expect it to get a little wild. Like, no one really knows what to expect. And on Friday, there was not a Q&A, but Joey Logano did a meet and greet. And we went and I asked him, I was like, well, Brad did that interview. Are you guys expecting any trouble this weekend? Like, what's kind of the mindset going into this? And he was like, well, we don't really see any issues. We're kind of good to go. And we'll just kind of see how it goes when we get out there. And that's basically how it went. There really was nothing. It didn't seem like the tire fall off was there for sure, but we didn't have any like blown tires. We didn't have any spins. Sorry, let me reword that. First stage, we had nothing. Throughout the race, two cautions for cause. one of which was just a spin that led to nothing, and the other one was Riley Herbst getting spun, and I believe that wasn't even until stage three. So a little shocking, but let me really highlight this by saying that is not a bad thing by any means. This race was a NASCAR purist's wet dream, and I'll be honest, I had an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was just this is something that I'll also say to people. If you haven't been to a race, you can truly get a grasp of the strategy, of the intricacies of the sport when you're there in person. You're watching it on TV, you see a guy go high, you see a guy go low. When you're there, you really get to see what goes into making that move, trying to get to the corner. If you don't get to the corner, what happens? Like these little moves here and there, every one means so much. Watching a guy, if a guy gets in the wall, seeing how they recover, like these are just little things that you get to see at the track that you really just can't get a full grasp of on TV because you're only looking at usually only as at a race like this one or two cars at a time where while there's usually one battle going on, there's little battles going on all around the
Oh
track.
yeah.
And we saw this in a truck race with Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar and Ross Chastain. The battle at the end, it all came down to lap traffic. And, we didn't exactly get that in this race where it like directly impacted everything, but lap traffic becomes an issue, and that's stage 1, 2, and 3. Like this isn't just at the end of the race thing. This is stuff that just goes on throughout the race, and it's not just lap traffic for the leaders. As lap traffic continues to go around, it happens to everybody. It's so interesting to watch in person. I will always say this: if you've never been to a race, go ASAP. It is hell. One of my buddy Hayden that went with us brought one of his friends, and first day, first truck race, she went boom. I'm a fan, and that's all it took, man. That's
Great to
all
hear.
it took. Like it is truly an experience, and even at the end of the day, if you didn't weren't enthralled by the race, you go out and you have some fun with your friends at the end of the day. That's really what it is about. You go, you get to spend the day, you can go to signings, you can sit at the trailer, cook food, you can literally do whatever you want to do. You get to go hang out with the guys and gals for a day, hang out with whoever you want to, meeting new people. It's just an experience that I feel like everyone should have. But getting back into the actual race, like we said, not much going on, but that's not a bad thing. And my personal favorite part, not well, favorite part, but the thing that I paid the most attention to was the pit stop strategy. And especially in person, it was very interesting to pay attention to because when the first car comes into pit, you know that this car has tires. You follow them and you see how much time they're able to make up. And I believe during the first stage, Allgaier was the first car to come pit. So you're just watching them go around and passing the leaders, passing the guys that are the literal class of the field just because they had new tires. And then you have guys that pit long and you see how that affects them. You have guys that pit short, guys pit in the middle, like forcing someone to pit. Like, say, for example, the second place car pits. The leader's probably coming in that next lap because you don't want to give up that much time. But it's just, God, it was such an interesting watch in person. And I think specifically one thing that got me, and this was actually my favorite part, was watching Carson Hocevar go from last all the way to fourth. Because it wasn't just had a good pit strategy, got to the front. No, every single stage you could see him making slow progress. And, I got the shirt. I loved this scheme. This thing was
I was gonna say.
gorgeous.
I was gonna say you got to watch him do that in a very good looking car, and I can see the new shirt
Absolutely.
right there.
I had to get one for the day. And man, thank God they were selling this shirt because it was okay. Obviously, I'm a Bowman fan. My Bowman shirt that I have is black. It was 85, not a cloud in the sky, almost 90 on that day. I was like, I am not wearing black.
Yeah,
Like
not
I
gonna
love
go.
my guy, but I am not wearing black, so I went with the Ally hat. I got the Carson shirt. We were working it out. But man, it was super cool to watch him run that car and the scheme itself, but also just you qualify. I think he qualified 16th, and then in that last stage, I think he was like 16th or so, like getting up to towards the top 10. And on the last pit cycle, he pitted long, didn't pit early, like went way longer than anybody else, and finally comes in, from the lead and drops down to about 15th ish, somewhere around there, and just drives that baby all the way up to the top five. Gets out of there with a fourth place finish. It was a like genuinely, how F1 has like driver of the day. Carson Hocevar would have a hell of a argument to make for being
Yeah,
driver of the day. He had an excellent race. But let's talk about what really matters at the end of the day, the 45 car. Tyler Reddick gets his fourth win. And not the way you would expect either. Was on the pole. This is a track that he does well at anyways. We've talked about it already. We can only talk about it enough. This is a Toyota track. And you know, but while I'm saying this is a Toyota track, let me give a very quick shout out to the RFK Fords. Keselowski wins both of the stages, I believe. And man, it was so cool to see those schemes running up front. There was a point in time where all three RFK Fords were 1, 2, 3. It was just a really cool moment to see those Fords, running up front with the Greg Biffle schemes. And they, how they usually do the Earnhardt lap 3 silent tribute. They had the same thing for Biffle on lap 16. So that was super cool to have. Awesome to see those cars running, and really a shocker to have all of them at the front. But at the end of the day, this is a Toyota track. Reddick has a great first stage, has a bad pit stop that costs him the stage win. And then immediately after stage one ends, they come in and the hood goes up. And I caught this moment in the vlog video. And it is literally me. I'm talking to the camera, going over what happened in stage one, and I see Reddick come down. I'm like, this is weird. Why is he pitting? And they lift the hood up, and I just go, oh my God. Well, I was in the process of saying, and we'll see this when the video should already be out by this. Anyways, if you watch that video, I look and I'm going, Reddick is the class of the field, and I look down and he's pitting, hood is up, and I go, just flabbergasted. I thought that was going to be it for the day. He goes a lap down, I believe, and by the time we get to stage 3, here he comes. There was no, they had battery issues, they had brake issues, didn't matter by the time they got to stage 3. That car was an absolute rocket ship, and no one was stopping him, man. He gets past Brad. He made some contact with Busher, I believe, but that didn't even slow him down. It was just as soon as he got the lead, man, he was just gone. Like it genuinely is just so impressive what the 45 team has done this year. And you could say that for the wins just in general, but it would be different if he was like dominating every single race. But man, being able to go through that adversity, literally having to, going through an issue that would almost end some other guys' days, and you were able to go out there, fix that problem, stay cool under pressure, and go out and do what you know how to do. It was an incredible win for him. The only thing that I would say is the burnout kind of sucked. There was really no burnout, but that's just a pet peeve.
yeah,
That's just a pet peeve of mine. He deserves to do whatever he wants. At the end of the day, he is a 4-time winner through 6 races this season. And my question for you is, I don't know if you like watched the race or just watched the replays or the
I watched
highlights.
most of it.
Okay. How was this race on TV? Because I'm very curious to hear about that.
You know, on TV, I will admit Fox's coverage has got better. It was
Definitely.
great. The intro of the race.
I was going to say
Just
DW back in the
I was
booth,
about to
baby.
say, with DW back, It made it amazing. It was very fun.
Unk still got it,
Yeah,
baby.
he
Unk
does.
still
He does
got it.
still have it. He does still have it. You know, I would say it was one of those races where I describe it like Bristol a few years ago. It was not the best race to watch on TV, but in person, it definitely was a great race to watch. Now, one of the main reasons for that is because with the limited number of cautions we got, they would jump away to commercials during green flag runs, which nobody likes anyways, even when we have a wreck fest. But they didn't have the chance to really cut to commercials, so that was one of the big issues. I personally enjoy it. I like a purist race every now and then. I'm more of a pure neutral when it comes to, the Crash Fest versus the purist groups. So, I personally enjoyed it, but I would say a majority of people would probably give it like a solid like C plus.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And like I said, nothing really to report back on, like in terms of like action. So I kind of expected it to be a not great TV race. But, it at the end of the day, it is always, it's going to be better for some people, worse for others. But I was just kind of curious. And let's go ahead and get into our pick'ems from last week.
Not
Let's
good.
not
Not
good,
good.
not good.
Not
Did
good.
not go well
First real dud week of the year for the both
for
of
both
us.
of us. Yeah, I've had a dud week, with Bowman at Coda, but this was we both kind of had a rough weeks. And let me start by saying yours not by fault, not by fault. I picked Bell. He just did not have a good week. A little shocking, like I picked him because he had been doing so well. There's a Toyota track. I really thought that he was going to be able to do it. Go out there and have a good week, but we just did not have that for him. Not at all. Was running, 15. I don't even know if he cracked the top 10 at any point that wasn't a pit cycle. So not a good day for him. Gets 18 points, which isn't horrible, but definitely not what we were looking for. But Bubba, he had the speed. He was running up towards the top, gets some good stage points. I think he finished fourth in stage one. But the problem was gets involved in an accident, has some trouble, and that really just killed the day. Absolutely killed his day. Ends the day with only 10 points. And not the day they wanted for sure, but at the end of the day, he had the speed. And I think that's still a kind of a win for them at the end of the day, knowing that you did have the car, to go out there and contend. But, you get involved in that accident. There's really only so much you can do with it. But as the totals stand, like I said, Bell 18, Wallace 10, Zach, we have reached the 200 point. You have 205 points.
All right.
And I draw ever closer. We have an 11-point gap. I'm sitting at 194.
Yeah, even though that we kind of had a dud week, you're still gaining points on me, which isn't good.
Ever so slightly.
Which isn't
Ever
good. I
so
think at one
slightly.
point I had like a 22-point lead, and now
Oh,
we're
we were way higher than that.
well. I know it was higher than that, but I know that the like I can't remember who it was one week.
You
I
had me
think
by like 60 at one point.
yeah, and
Because
then I
When Reddick won at Coda, I had Bowman. Bowman had like 5 points.
yeah
You had like 60.
yeah I had 60, but then something whoever didn't you pick you picked Blaney. That's what it was. You picked Blaney at
Blaney,
Phoenix.
yep. Yep. Yeah, that really was my saving grace. That is the highest, and I'm looking at our keeping track here. Blaney with 65 is the highest amount of points that we have scored with our pick'ems this season.
Yeah,
So
thankfully whoever I picked that week was not bad. I think it was,
Larson, yeah, he
I
had
was gonna say I think it was
36.
Larson.
Yep. Yeah, we've had some good picks, but that definitely was not our week. That was our worst dud week. But week two, we both took the RFKs, and they didn't do very well either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, it's learning curves, it's growing pains, it's having a little faith in a car that sometimes you shouldn't have any faith in. But at the end of the day, we've got a long way to go.
We do. We have a very long way to go. We are not even a fourth of a way through a very young season here. We got all of summer. We got into football season. I mean, we're getting to that point of the year, Cody. I mean, we got March Madness that just started this week. We are getting into that point of the year where it's like, okay, we still got basketball and hockey and football, or excuse me, and baseball and softball. And then, we get to, oh, well, we only have this and that. I mean, we're getting very dangerously close to what I refer to as the dark times for sports fans, which is that month and a half, 2 month gap where, if you like NASCAR like us, it's fantastic. Because the only thing that's on TV is NASCAR.
Don't forget the MLB starts on Thursday.
I mean, it does start on Thursday, but the MLB...
Don't forget.
The MLB season does not start until it's officially halfway over because there's so many games.
I am a sicko. I will watch it every damn day.
I will watch it every day too, but it does not matter. You can be one of the worst teams in the league going into July, and then you pick it up and you're going to be fine. You're at least going to have a wild card spot if you pick it up and play well enough. But dude, we're getting there. We are getting there. I mean, it's crazy how fast the season's gone on. I remember I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier at work today, and we were like, dude, I cannot believe it's almost April. I mean, it's almost April. We are well in the NASCAR season, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Yes, sir, baby. It's going to be a blast.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys next time.